All right, welcome back. Today I wanted to just talk a little bit about why am I doing this? Like, why am I documenting this whole process? And the reason for it isn't because I'm making a tutorial. I'm not trying to show you like, this is how you do this. What I'm doing is I'm just trying to document every single step of the process. And the whole goal is to really get on camera every single line of code that I write from start to finish. And then just to continue documenting once the app is built, like continue documenting the next steps of like how to drive it forward. And really it's just a project for me to kind of stay consistent with and to stick through with, if that makes sense. That's one of the main goals for me for this project, is just have something that I follow through on, because I have a different YouTube channel that you might have seen. And I've done so many different projects on there where I've started building an app here, an app there, and I like done very small projects, and I've published some apps and done all kinds of things, but I haven't really done anything that is big to the scale that this is kind of big. There's so many moving parts to this app. Like, this is the biggest project I've done by far. And the whole goal is to, like, that is my goal, that what I've just said. But another part of it is also to inspire, like to show that you don't have to know that much to be able to do this stuff. Like, it's not that hard. Anyone could do it. And the reason that you might be able to think that anyone could do it by watching me is because you're watching me. You're seeing that, okay, if this guy can do this, then it's not that hard. I could do this too. And that's my goal with the videos, if that makes sense. Like, I want you to see that, yes, this isn't difficult. If you have an app idea, just go try to build it. Like, I don't know that much. I get stuck on easy things. Like, I've spent 5 months almost working with AWS only to realize that, well, maybe Supabase is better. And then I just switched the entire backend to Supabase. And it turned out that it was way easier. And it took me only like a week to rebuild what I'd done in like 5 months. So I do stupid things all the time. Like right now, I'm trying to just test the application on physical devices. It took me, I don't know what the last video was, but it was like 3 hours maybe of me trying to get it to work. And I didn't get it to work. And today I'm going to try to get that to work again. And I'm just going to continue doing this. If I don't manage it today, I'm going to continue tomorrow. And then I'm going to continue the next day, because I also know that as long as you like chip away at something for long enough, you will achieve what you want. It's like the, I don't know if it's Michelangelo or Leonardo. No, I think it's Michelangelo, where it's like the sculpture in the rock or in the stone is already there, but you just have to reveal it. You just have to chip away at the rock and then slowly reveal the sculpture underneath. And I think that's how it works with pretty much anything that you do, whether it's working out. It's just like, yes, you're not going to see any difference if you do 10 reps of bicep curls one day, but if you do 10 reps like 2 times a week for 2 months, you're going to see a difference. And it's so slow. It's just like you're sort of persistently banging away at this project. And at some point, I believe that it will work out if you just continue. And this is like my experiment to see, is that true? If I just continue this, will that happen? Right now, not many people are watching the videos, or depending on how you look at that, like there's 300-400 views per video, something like that, of the long form ones. And that is not enough to sustain me, I'll tell you that much. I'm making about $10 or $15 a month on this YouTube channel right now. And That's definitely not enough to sustain me and my life. But I also think there, if I just continue it long enough, then at some point it might generate something. And if it doesn't, then maybe the app will generate something. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've said this before, but I think consistency is manifestation. So if you're consistent long enough, you're going to manifest what you're doing. I think manifestation, a large part of manifestation is just being consistent. You're just consistently thinking about something. You're reminding yourself of that thing every morning or whatever it is. And just by reminding yourself of it, you start to look at the world a little bit differently. Because if every, like, that's the thing of like when you get a new car and all of a sudden you see that car everywhere on the street, it's most likely not because that car wasn't there before and now it's all of a sudden showing up. The only reason is that your perspective is now different because you've been primed by owning the car. So you now see the car everywhere, but it was there before as well. There's been lots of studies on this where it's like priming people to look for like the color red or something, and they'll be way better at finding red things in a room, but they'll miss everything that's blue, or they'll miss like really strange things about the room because they're just looking for red things. So this is my way of sort of, I don't know, I feel like this whole project just gives me benefits in all kinds of areas. Like it gives me something to be consistent with. Even if none of this is successful, even if like the app does really not well, like it doesn't do anything at all, even if the videos don't do well, I still get the benefit of having something that I'm being consistent with and like getting a routine around and being productive, learning things, getting better at speaking to the camera. I'm pretty much shit at everything that I'm doing right now. Like I suck at, or I feel like I suck at speaking, like talking to people, being coherent and concise in how I express myself. I feel like I'm not very good at that at all. Like I go all over the place. My mind is working overtime all the time when I'm speaking. So if I'm talking to you right now and I'm talking about like, this is how this works, and I'm start going down that line, in my head at the same time, I will be playing devil's advocate. So I'll be like coming up with counter arguments on the way there. And that will usually take me off on tangents because I will then be like, I'll say things like, well, manifestation is, or consistency is manifestation because blah, blah, blah. And then I'll realize, well, if you don't think of it like this, and then I'll go into that and like counter argue that thing. And then come back to the main point. And it's, I feel like it's hard to maybe follow that as an audience. I don't know, but I feel like it is. So me making these videos is also me practicing speaking and getting better at just formulating sentences. Is what I want to say. So yeah, there's just a lot of benefits for me personally doing this whole thing. And then I hope that it will give some inspiration and it will show that like, this is not that easy, that hard. Anyone could do these things, and you just have to try. And literally everything that I've ever tried in my life, nothing has been harder than this. Like everything is about the same. Like you just spend time doing it. You're going to run into problems. You're not going to know how to solve them. And then you work on that and think about it for a bit. And all of a sudden you figure out, okay, this is how you solve that. That's how everything works. Whether it's working out, whether it's building like physical things, or whether it's building apps or schoolwork, or just anything that you could do works like this. And that's, I think it's very important to not be afraid of trying things. Like, just realize that, I don't know who said this, if it's like Steve Jobs or something, where it's this thing of like, people no smarter than you have built everything that you see around you. It's not like that at all, but it's something like that. And if there's one thing that I do have, it's like this unwavering belief that I could probably do that. Whatever it is that someone's done, I, whether that's a toxic trait or a good trait, I don't really know, but I always have the feeling that like, well, I could probably do that too, if this, and that. Like, and I would rather have that, too much of that, than not enough, if that makes sense. Like, I would rather feel what I feel, which is like looking at Usain Bolt. I would think that, well, I could probably do that if I just started doing that when I was a kid and like had the same circumstances he had. I could probably have done that as well. My genuine belief there is that I probably couldn't, because there's other things going on, and just genetic differences and things. I think he's pretty tall, and or taller than me at least. And but I still have a belief that I could do most things if I just tried. Specifically, if I had tried when I had the chance to try, if that makes sense. Like, some things, it's like, well, if you're 50 years old, yeah, maybe you can't think that, well, I could become a world class, or I could become the fastest man in the world. Not realistic, but what I would have what I probably would think at 50 is not that I could do it then, but I could have done it back when it was relevant to try. And what I figure is that it's better to have that belief than to not have it, because you're going to miss way more opportunities if you think that you can't do things than if you think that you can do them and you figure out, or you find out that you couldn't. And there's things that you will do. Like, let's say that I was to attempt becoming the fastest man in the world right now. I wouldn't be able to succeed in that, most likely, but the journey towards it would probably teach me a lot of really valuable lessons. And even if I fail at the end, I'd probably get a lot out of the pursuit, if that makes sense. So that, compared to the person who'd be like, well, I could never do that. I'm not a runner. I can't do that. That person would never initiate the pursuit, and thus would never learn anything from the pursuit. So yeah, that's a little bit about why I'm doing this. And now let's see if we can actually test it on physical devices today. It didn't work yesterday or last time, but my experience is that sometimes when you run into issues like that, if you just give it a rest and then come back the next day, all of a sudden it will work out. So hopefully it will. All right, this is gonna be interesting. We just got Claude Code here says that this is the problem. I think I changed this myself before, but maybe not. I sent it to Claude again, but on the Claude that I'm using on the back end, which is this, which is on the web. And now I'm running the app on my phone, and then we're gonna run it on the iPad, and we're gonna see if there's any audio coming through. The annoying thing is that it takes so long to run the app this way, so, and I should probably look this up actually, but I don't know if there's any way to just run it faster, because it has to like rebuild and almost reinstall the entire app every time I run it, which just takes time. But if we get a phone call to come through today, then I'm going to call it a day, no matter how fast that happens. I'm going to call it a day as soon as that happens. All right, again, that took forever. Now, let's see if we connect them to a phone call. No. Fuck. Don't understand. All right, now we did a more comprehensive analysis of this. So maybe it will work. We're gonna have to run it again. I hope it's gonna work. I think now I have higher hopes because now it's like I got Claude to create the changes, and there was quite like comprehensive changes made. And then I got Claude to write the prompt for how to change the front end, which I then sent to Claude Code. So I think that this should work. Or not. I don't think that this should work. I don't know what I'm talking about really. But I have hope or faith in that it could work because it feels like it's pretty comprehensive. And it feels like we maybe changed something that was different from previously, but I'm not sure. Okay, here goes nothing. Oh my god, we still are in this infinite fucking loop. Okay, I love how... Okay, I need to adapt this somehow. Right, maybe this is a little bit better. So I love how confident Claude always is. It's always like, now let me examine blah 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 blah. I found the issue. The problem is on line 458. When initial blah blah blah, this means that we're using an old blah blah blah. And then, great, it looks like the initial parameter wasn't being used anyway. La 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 la. And it's so confident that it's solving all these issues. But I just don't believe it, to be honest. I think it's not really solving it. I'm gonna have to pull the curtain down. And then... Yeah, it's frustrating how confident it is, and then it just doesn't actually solve the problem. Okay, so, but let's see. I doubt that it fixed it, but you never really know. And if it didn't fix it, I'm gonna have to call it a day here. Again, unsuccessful. So a lot rides on this test right now. If it works, then we at least achieved something. If it didn't work, then there's two videos, like, I don't know, 5-6 hours of me trying this without achieving anything. No. All right, here we go. Here's the test. What should happen is we should say that we have joined the call and that we get a voice animation thing. But no, we do not get that. Because it still doesn't fucking work. Okay, let's try it one more time and see if it works. I feel like it's so close, and Claude keeps fooling me, just like saying that, oh, I see the issue clearly now. It's on line, I don't know, line 364. And all that we should do is change this thing because we never reached the whatever. But then we still end up in this fucking same place. And it doesn't do anything. Okay, we'll copy all of this and then send it and hope, I don't know. I'm feeling like I'm so close that I just can't stop. I need to stop. All right, I'm gonna have to give up because this is just taking too long. I'm not getting anywhere, and yeah, I'm so disappointed. Like, it doesn't really show for me, like externally. I don't show my emotions that much, but I am. I'm disappointed, even though I'm expecting this sort of stuff. Like, I'm so used to it and so familiar with coding and working on projects like this that I know things just take way longer than you think they're going to take, and I never really expect things to just work. But this has probably been one of the hardest things so far since switching to Superbase. When I was doing AWS as the backend, this was like every day for me. I was just struggling to get things to work and never really managing to. It would take me days just to do a simple thing like get a picture from the backend. But since switching from that, nothing's really taken that long. It's just like I can just add feature after feature and it just works. But this is just, I don't know why this is so hard. It's actually like so difficult for some reason. And now Claude is suggesting that I should use Agora's like server thing and launch that on Heroku or like a server somewhere, which is like, I'm not going to do that unless I have to. And if I don't have to, I will absolutely, under no circumstance, be launching a server separately from Superbase for this project. So if I can avoid that, I will avoid it at all costs because it costs. But I don't know, like what it replies to me here is that the token generation is still producing tokens of length 191, which suggests our implementation still doesn't match Agora's exact format. And I'm like, why are you generating a token of a length 191 when that's not Agora's exact format? How does that even happen? And it seems to me that it should be pretty easy to just make it the correct length, but maybe it's not that simple. I'm guessing it's not that simple. And as you can tell, I'm a little bit frustrated at this point. And I'm really not looking forward to doing this again tomorrow. Like I don't really have any clues for how to solve it. I did get an email from Sego Cloud. Sego Cloud, which is like a competitor to Agora, and they wanted to sponsor me, maybe. I haven't come to any, like I haven't really replied to them properly, but apparently they were interested in some sort of collaboration. And so if they are easier to use, then maybe that's going to be the way to go. They might also help support some of the stuff and like take some of the costs of the minutes of the phone calls, which means that we don't have to have as strict limits for the users. We can just allow users to do as many calls as they want, which would be really cool. And right now, since I'm not getting Agora to work, it's just very tempting to switch. It's just that I've already set up so much stuff for Agora that it's like, should I really switch? But from past experience, when I switched from AWS to Superbase, things just got way easier. So maybe that's all that I need to do. Anyway, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.